Om Namah Paramarishibhyo Namah Paramarishibhyah Harihi Om Yasyantannadimadhyam Nahi Karacharanam Namagotram Nasutram No jatin naiva varna na bhavati purusho na napumsam na cha stri na akaram no vikaram na hi jani maranam nasti punyam na papam tattvam no tattvam sahaja samarasam sadgurum tam namami sada shiva samarambham Shankaracharya Madhyamam Asmadacharya Paryantam Vande Guru Paramparam Mauna Vyakhya Prakatita Parabrahma Tattvam Yuvanam Varshishthante Vasadrishiganairavratam Brahmanishtaihi Acharyendram Karakalitachanmudramanandarupam Swatmaramam Uditavadanam Dakshinamurtimide Vedantartha Vibhasakaya Yadaye Shantaya Sannyasine Nanavadinagendra Sankapavaye Yogindra Vandyaya Cha Mohadvanta Divakaraya Bhagavatpadabhitam Bibhrate Tasmai Bhashyakrite Namostu Satatam Purnaya Bodhatmane Apara Satchit Sukhavari Rashehi Yasyormi Matram Bhuvanam Samastam Guhahitam tam ramanam gabhiram chinta vihinam hridi chintayami Deham rinmayavajjadatmakam buddhirna tasyastyato Naham tattadabhava supti samaye siddhatma sadbhavataham Koham bhavayutah kuto varadhiyam Drishtvatmanishtatmanam Soham spurtitaya arunachala shivah purno vibhati swayam Yontah pravishya mama vachamimam prasuptam Sanjeevayatyakila shaktidhara swadhamnam Anyam shahasta charana shravanatvagadin Pranan namo bhagavate Purushaya Tubhyam Om Namaha Paramahamsa Parivrajakaacharya Varenyebhyah Vedanta Vijnana Sunishitarthebhyah Vishuddha Brahma Vidya Sampradayadhva Pradarshakebhyah Shri Gaudapadacharya Shri Shankara Bhagavatpadacharya Shri Sureshwaracharyebyah Namo Gurubhyah We have assembled here on this blessed occasion of Pujya Gurudev Swami Sivanandaji Maharaj 100th year of his Paramahamsa Ashrama, Sannyasa Ashrama. And yesterday we had an introduction to this talk. The Sannyasa Ashrama is for Jnanam. Actually, it is Jnanam that is Sannyasa Ashrama. And what for is Jnanam? Jnanam is, of course, knowledge. And here it is the knowledge of our own real nature. Yasmin vidite sarvamidam vijñātam syāt. By knowing which everything else is known. The Upanishad says, know that. Eka vijñānena sarva vijñānam. Till one comes to know the Lord within as one's own real nature, as oneself, whatever one may achieve in one's life, one will not attain peace, shanti. This is a declaration of the Upanishad. The Shvetashvatara Upanishad says with very powerful simile, analogy or whatever you may call. Yada charmavad akasham veshtayishyanti manavaha tada devam avijñāya dukkhasya antaha bhavishyati. Suppose you become you attain so much expertise to roll the space, the sky. You can roll it like a leather mat. Of course, we know that it is impossible. If you can do that, then perhaps Devam avijñāya, without knowing the Deva within you, without knowing the Atman within you, you might attain dukkhasya anta, the end of sorrow. So the sorrow is something which is there in front of you. Even Buddha, of course we know that he was a prince and there was a great kingdom in front of him, but he chose this path of begging, this bhikshucharya. We know the story. He saw death, he saw old age, he saw disease, he saw the sorrow of coming into existence, embodiment in this world. Everything was revealed to him. And that prince Siddhartha, he was 29 years old at that time, he chose this path of nivritti. And why did he do that? He was just wandering about in search of master, in search of a guru. Of course, he had a training with many masters of his time. So on the way, King Bimbisara asked him, why are you doing this? You are a prince. You can own the kingdom, you can become an emperor, a king, a chakravarti. You could have enjoyed your kingdom. Then Siddhartha said, I also love to enjoy this life. I want to enjoy this life. But I have found that there are troubles. Yadi janma jara maranam na bhavet. Yadi cha ishtaviyoga bhayam na bhavet. Yadi sarvam anityamidam na bhavet. Iha janmani kasya ratir na bhavet. If there is no janma, jara, maranam, if there is no old age, birth, old age, decay, disease, pain of separation, if these things are not there, I also love to live in this world, enjoy this world. But I find that there are forces around you which will not allow you to be peaceful. So I want to find out how to be free, to be absolutely free. To attain that, by knowing which I can be in Shanti. Nirvanakya Shanti. Shankaracharya says, Shantim Nirvana Paramam. Bhagavan says in Gita, Shantim Nirvana Paramam Matsamstham Adhigachati. So that Shanti I want to have. We can call that Shanti as God, as Ishvara. Once one devotee has written a letter to Bhagavan Ramana Maharshi. In that letter he has written, Bhagavan, I don't want self-realization. I am not even seeking God or any yoga siddhi. I want only Shanti, peace. Reading that letter, Bhagavan said, what else is God realization? What else is the greatest siddhi? The greatest siddhi is Shanti. Shanti is moksha. Shanti is bhakti. Shanti is jnana. Shanti is Atmaswarupa. Swami Tapovan Maharaj, before coming to Himalayas, he was doing tremendous inner work. Shravana, Manana, Nididhyasana, constantly. And at that time, he was contemplating what should be the element that we should contemplate. Nididhyasana. Shravana, you are listening to the scripture and reflecting on the meaning, that is Manana. And what is the element by catching hold of which I should hold on inside, so that Samadhi, the Swarupanubhuti, can be stable. In that state, he went to Tiruvannamalai. In Virupaksha cave, he saw Maharshi. But he didn't speak. Maharshi also did not speak. He just sat there. And while coming down, he said, now I got the clue. The thing that I have to hold within is this Shanti Shanti Brahma Shanti Saagad. He says that Brahma Shanti, that Shantim Nirvana Paramam. Because the Shanti is the only element which is not made of mind. Even spiritual experiences, some mystical experiences also, you have to use the mind intensely, so it touches all the nervous centers, as Swamiji told down. The nerves, all they get affected. But Shanti is something which has nothing to do with the body or the mind or the nerves, and you can remain in that state for minutes, hours, days, always. You will not get tired by that. You will not get tired by that. Even ecstasy, spiritual ecstasy, you will get tired. You will get exhausted. The nerves will get affected. It has some touch of Prakriti there. But this peace, this Shanti has no touch of Prakriti. Because it is the self. Shanto yamatma. The very nature of the self is Shanti. That is why Bhagavatam says, after experiencing all the bhavas, and at last like rivers going and merging in the ocean, tataf param shanti mupaiti sakshat. The mind enters into great peace, profound peace. And that profound peace is the Nirvana, it is Brahman, it is the Atma Swarupa. So you get a glimpse of it in the presence of a mighty sage, in the presence of a Jivan Mukta. You get a glimpse of it. And once you get a glimpse of it, you know that is the thing. That is the element. It is just like $1,000,000. $1,000,000, it is all made of 1 rupee coin, 1 rupee. So every 1 rupee makes the million rupee. Like that, one moment of peace, one moment of that shanti, one moment of amani bhava, the state where the mind is not, the state where the mind is not, that is the self. You just get a glimpse of the self, then hold on to it. Then you go on contemplating on that state, doing that what Swamiji said, that ekagnihotra, putting ahuti of every thought, every emotion into that and abiding in that, that is for holding on to that peace. After Shastra Jnana also, one takes to Sannyasa Ashrama, this Paramahamsa Ashrama. And yesterday we said, even in Grihastha Ashrama it is possible. You can attain that state of jnana. It is quite possible. In Aitareya Upanishad Bhashya, Shankaracharya has an elaborate discussion where he discusses with Purvapaksha and Siddhanta whether sannyasa is needed or not. Of course, those who have read the Upanishad Bhashyam, they know Shankaracharya is always for sannyasa. He will be always arguing that you need sannyasa. But in the Aitareya Bhashya, he says, a grihastha cannot devote all his time for this realization. So he will have a pinch of mamata. This house is mine, this is my wife, this is my children. And something happens to them, you get affected. So these things are there. So you need this ashrama for absolute undisturbed Brahmanishta. So the Purva Pakshi comes with a very beautiful argument. Purva Pakshi means you raise a doubt or a good argument, a debate, a dialogue. So the Purva Pakshi says, suppose a person is a grihastha, as many of the devotees are here, and he can devote all his time for God, for Brahma Vichara, Atma Vichara. And he is not spending his energy for anything else. Then what about him? Then Shankaracharya said, by your very definition, he has become a sannyasi. Sannyasa is not, traditionally it is not accepting something from someone. It is not even the ochre robe. It is not even mundana. Of course, mundana is said, vivarnavasa mundi aparigraha. Vivarnavasa, it is not colored cloth. It is some very dim colored cloth, unattractive cloth. And he just uses things which are used by others. It is utter simplicity. And in that utter simplicity is chosen so that you need not unnecessarily scatter your energy for other things. And you can devote your complete time for Shravana, Manana, Nididhyasana. Or in Bhakti Marga also sannyasa is there. See, in Vishishtadvaita, Dvaita, and of course Sivanandaji Maharaj, Ramanacharana mission, everywhere you have the upasana also is there in sannyasa, karma also is there in sannyasa. So there also you can devote your time for either unselfish action or for complete meditation, japa, dhyana. As Swami Vivekananda said in his inspired talks, let a few souls live for God and for God alone, and let the world go. Have no compromise. This is a very powerful statement. Let a few souls live for God. Only those few are there. Once there was a great, simple, childlike saint in Ramanacharana, Kunjaswami. I've met him many times. Very unassuming saint. Actually, he took sannyasa from Rishikesh, but never used his real sannyasa nama there. Everybody called him Kunjaswami. Because when he came to Ramana Maharshi, he was very small. And he was called as Kunju means small, the little one. So he was called Kunju. His name was Kumaraharanandagiri. That was his sannyasa nama. So once, one youngster approached Swami, very arrogant attitude, and he said, Swami, you all are wasting your time. All these sannyasa, you are all like parasites to the society. See, so many problems are there in the world. Financial problems, poverty is there, and political problems are there. And of course, you can see in families also there is a lot of problems. And even in religion, lot of problems of conversion and many other problems are there. And you are staying inside this jungle, in this ashram, insensitive to all these problems. He was going on, blah, blah, blah. And Kunjaswami was very quiet, peaceful, simple, listening. And he allowed him to finish his energy. After that, Kunjaswami said, Mudichutela? Yes. Finished? You have finished? Yes. Then, very calm way, he said, see, the family problems, elders in the family have to interfere and rectify the problems. They are there. And regarding social problems, great social leaders are there. They are responsible, they know better. And political problems, politicians are there, government is there, court is there, they will deal with it. And religious problem, great matadhipatis are there. It is their dharma, they know the shastra, they are great scholars, they know the vibe of society, so they can deal with those problems. Now sadhu, in Tamil he said, I am just a sadhu, I do not know anything. What are you expecting me to do? And that person just melted. He could not further talk anything. And then one devotee who was with Kunjaswami, after that boy went away, he asked Swamiji, how did you deal with such simplicity? Because this person has given trouble to many other sannyasis. And you dealt with him with such a remarkable way. Kunjaswami said, Bhagavan has given us that training. Bhagavan said, if somebody wants to defeat you, allow him to defeat you. And that is sannyasa dharma. Suppose if he comes and attacks you under the carpet, in Tamil, carpet means chamati. Under the carpet, you go under the kolam. You know kolam, rangoli. If possible, you go underneath the rangoli. Just surrender. Because you are not here to fight with others. You are not here to win any match in this world. Nirmatsaranam satam vedyam. As Bhagavata says, the very beginning, the Paramahamsa Dharma is, I am not here for Matsarya. I am not here for competing with anybody to become first, come first anywhere. I am just here. I will sit in the last bench. I want only the inner one. Ishvara, nothing else. So one who chooses only Bhagavan, nothing else. His choice is Bhagavan, he is a sannyasi. Sivanandaji Maharaj, it is actually, we can speak about humility, but it is very difficult. But devotees, many devotees have told how Sivanandaji Maharaj first conquered them by his humility, by his love. Many sadhakas, many disciples, first when they came to Sivanandaji Maharaj, the first encounter was one specific incident I remember. I don't remember the name. One devotee has written that when he wanted to meet great Shivananda Saraswati Swami, so when he came here, Swamiji was standing there, he could not recognize. Those days, of course, we do not have YouTube or so much of magazines or anything. So he asked, I have come here to meet Shivananda Saraswati Swami. And Shivananda Swami just fell flat before him, touched his feet and said, what do you want? How can I serve you? He was just shocked. See, that is not namaskara. That is, in Tamil we call Tadutha Atkollal. The first treatment for the ego. Sri Ramakrishna did this with Girish Chandra Ghosh. Girish Chandra Ghosh was a great dramatist, a great drama writer. He was very proud about his achievement. So when Ramakrishna came to see his drama, Chaitanya Charitamrita, one of Ramakrishna's disciples went to Girish Chandra Ghosh and told him, Thakur has come. Ramakrishna, the great saint of Dakshineshwar, has come. Will he be excused from taking the ticket? Girish Chandra Ghosh said, okay. Let him not take ticket, but all of you, the chelas who have come with him, all of you should take the ticket. He said, okay, we will take the ticket. And will you please come and receive him? Girish Chandra Ghosh said, can he not come inside without my reception? Then, okay, I will come. He came and stood in a distance. The moment Ramakrishna saw him, Ramakrishna just bowed low before him. And Girish Chandra Ghosh could not resist. He also said, Namaskar. Then Ramakrishna again did another Namaskar. He did another Namaskar. And at last Girish gave up. Girish said, my first failure was in Namaskara. Thakur conquered me by Namaskara. So that is my first surrender. And the second is, of course, very famous incident where Girish Chandra Ghosh went to Ramakrishna and said, can you give me that experience? Ramakrishna said, can you do sadhana? What is sadhana? I will give you a mantra. You have to chant the mantra at least for 3 hours in the morning and 3 hours in the night. Girish Chandra Ghosh said, if I can do that much, why I need you? I will myself put effort and attain God. So I have come to you asking for some simple method. See, in Bhagavatam also, every devotee is asking this, Anjasa. How will I attain God in a very simple way? So Ramakrishna said, okay, then you need not do 6 hours, do it only in night, 3 hours. Then Girish Chandra Ghosh said, all my dramas will be in night. So I cannot guarantee. If I give you word, I have to do that Nama Japa. So if I give word, I have to do it. I cannot do that. No time. So why don't you do it in the daytime? Daytime I sleep. Night will be the drama, daytime I sleep, I cannot do. Then Ramakrishna said, before taking food, chant Bhagavan Nama. Girish Chandra Ghosh said, I will be standing and eating while I am directing the drama. I cannot guarantee you. Then Ramakrishna said, okay, give me your power of attorney. You hand over your power of attorney. You give all your self, your ego to me. I will do sadhana for you. And Girish Chandra Ghosh was delighted. He said, I was searching for such a guru. So I have got such a guru. What should I do? He said, from your heart tell that I have handed over everything to you. Yes. Now you are free. Girish Ghosh later on told, then only I understood I was completely imprisoned. Because I cannot even take a breath without thinking him. I cannot take a cup of water without thinking about him. So I was completely conquered. So this conquering, we need a master. We need the presence of a mighty being where you can surrender your ego. The great saint of Tiruvannamalai, Arunagirinathar, he has written a work on Murugan, Subramanya, Kandara Anubhuti, where he says, what is the truth, which they call as God or Atman or Self? Yano Manamo, Yano Udayamo, Navin Non Marayo. He is asking questions, whether it is Jnana, whether it is the Vedas, whether it is this, that, and at last he says, Yenai anda idam tano purulavat shanmukhane. He says, the source, the space which conquered me, which swallowed my ego, which swallowed my doership, ego, and that is the element, that is the principle which reigns supreme. That is it. That is why you need a master, you need a guru. As Swamiji said, Shastrajñopi swatantriyena brahmanveshanam na kuryat. As Bhashyakara has said, even if he knows all the Shastras, he should not venture to walk in this path without a true master. Shrotriyasya akamahatasya. The Shruti again and again repeats. You need a Shrotriya, a Brahmanishta, a Jivan Mukta, because only from a real flame you can light your lamp. You cannot light your lamp from a photo. You need real fire, and from that fire you can light your inner lamp. For that only so many from various places rushed to Swami Sivanandaji Maharaj. See, in those days Rishikesh was, many who have visited Swamiji has written, it is very difficult to stay here. Now itself, people complain about, I am not having this, I am not having that. But in those days, I have heard, even now when I see Padmanabhan Swamiji's room, I feel ashamed to stay there. In Divya Sannidhya, it's not very comfortable. But they used to say about Vimalanandaji's stay in that, what is that place called? Yes, that temple is very small, very, because they had only that facility in those days. They used to wear the sack. And real sannyasa dharma. And so much, see, Chidanandaji Maharaj has come from a very well-to-do family, rich family. Even Sivanandaji Maharaj was also from a very rich family. Why should they live such a life? And why should they suffer? For whom? For what? And the choice was theirs, and there was great joy in that. They were not ready to go back. Our Swamiji, Yoga Swarupan Swamiji said, I came here thinking that I can just walk in the Himalayas and go to heaven like the Pandavas. I had no idea about this Brahmajnana or this spiritual path. I just landed here and first met Swami Krishnanji Maharaj, and he gave him some work. And in between, I very much love that words. He said, why don't you stay here? You know typewriting, you have interest in spiritual life, why don't you stay here? Swamiji said, I said, no, I have to go back. I thought there is Himalayas, I can go walk ahead, but I find nothing here. So I will go back. I will stay only 10 days. And Swamiji told me, till today the 10 days are not over. So with all that difficulty, they have stayed here. The difficulty is, outward difficulty is there. Outward suffering is there. In Tamil, there is a great bhakti work, Tiruvachakam. It is one of the greatest spiritual literatures of the world, mystical literature. The bhakti, the element of the viraha, purifying, everything is there inside. There, Manikavachakar says, Ooninai urukki ulloli perukki. He says, by melting the body, by melting the flesh, bone, the inner effulgence is nourished. The inner effulgence becomes more and more radiant, but the physical body, the physical flesh, the bone, everything is just melted. The difficulty is only for the body. See, Bhagavan Ramana, when he was wandering about in Arunachala hill, he had only one kaupina, no spare kaupina. One day that kaupina was torn. He took a thorn from the hill. Even now you can see that thorn. It will be like a needle. He took a thorn and put a hole there and took a thread, separated a thread from his Bina kaupina. And with that thread, he stitched the kaupina and wore it. He didn't tell anyone. He had only one towel and it had so many holes that Muruganar later on said, Indra came in the form of towel to serve. Because Indra is Sahasraksha. He has 1,000 eyes. So he came in the form of the towel to serve. So he will cleanse the body with the towel and hide it underneath a rock so that nobody will find. Because if someone sees it, they will bring a new towel. So he didn't want it. So he just will hide it in under a rock. And one boy made fun of it. One shepherd boy, he saw that. He said, Swami, unga towel governor ku venama kudupela. In those days, governor was very much respected. So he said, governor is coming here to ask for your towel. Will you give him that? Bhagavan said, like an emperor, I told him, no, I will not give. In that state, Maharshi wrote a song where he says, Annamalayai adiyenai anda andre avi udal kondai yanakku or kurai undo. This is a very beautiful song where he says, the moment you conquered me as Arunachala, you took over my body, you took over my mind, and I have nothing is lacking. I am full. I am whole. Because there is prosperity inside. Shanti samruddham amritam. iti prachina yogyopasva. The Veda says, hey, oh, the ancient seeker, the prachina yogya, you do upasana like this. As shanti samruddham amritam, as the abundant peace is Brahman, abundant peace is Atman, abundant peace is your Swarupa. You are Shanti. You meditate like that. Atmetyeva upasita. You meditate that your very Atman, your very self is Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. So that Shanti was so much that the physical trouble, the physical pain, the physical suffering is nothing. I have seen many, many rich people in total depression. So much money they have, they do not know what to do with that money. They have every comfort. In fact, it is the research topic that many have written that mostly people committing suicide are all rich people. Very rarely poor people commit suicide. Because sometimes, poverty, Bhagavata says, Bhagavan gives poverty to a person when he likes that person. Bhagavata says, because money can destroy a person, so that yasya anugraham ichchami tasya vittam haramyaham. If I want to bless a person, I will just steal his wealth. I will just take away his wealth, so that he will become poor and he will know the pain of others also. He will know what is hunger. He will know what is thirst. Otherwise, he is so comfortable, he will never know the difficulty of poverty, difficulty of hunger, difficulty of thirst. So he will, daridrya is not that bad. Sometimes it is the first step of spiritual life. Even in Bhagavata, people speak much about the poverty of Kuchela. But you know how it begins, that story? Kuchela's, that episode in Bhagavatam, Krishnasya asit saka kashit. This is the first sentence. There was a friend of Krishna, Brahmana. He was a Brahmana, not an ordinary Brahmana, Brahmavittamaha. He was a great knower of Brahman. He was a realized soul. Brahmano Brahmavittamaha viraktaha indriyartheshu. He was dispassionate towards all the sensory objects. Prashantatma. In that poverty, he was prashantatma. He was peaceful, very calm. Jitendriyaha. Has controlled the senses completely. He was a samyami. So such a person was welcomed by the Lord with horripilation, with romancha. The moment Krishna touched Sudama, he had goosebumps. He had tears in his eyes. Sakyuhu priyasya viprarshehe anga sanga ati nirvrtaha prito vyamunjad abbindun netrabhyam pushkarekshanaha. The Lord shed tears by touching this Brahmana, because he was a real saint. So, this yatyashrama, this is our subject, this is yatyashrama, Sannyasa Ashrama, which Sivanandaji Maharaj took and which he recommended for everyone who deserves it. What is the greatness of it? Tapovan Maharaj says, even the devas are longing to attain that state. Devairapi kamchitam turiya ashram. Kamchitoyam ashramaha. Even devas, they are all longing to have that turiya ashrama. So this Paramahamsa ashrama, he becomes the friend of all. In Bhagavata it is there, Sarva Bhuta Suhrit Shantaha Jnana Vijnana Nishayaha Pashyan madatmakam vishvam na vipadyeta vai punaha. He looks at everyone as his self, and he is a friend of all. He has no bheda buddhi. Once when Ananda Mahima was in Haridwar, one bhikshu asked Ananda Mahima, recorded, it is there, Mataji, what is Vedanta? He asked, of course in Bengalis, they usually never pronounce va, they pronounce ba. So he asked Vedanta. And Mataji said, your question itself contains the answer. Vedanta is Vedanta. Vedanta is Vedanta. When Bheda is removed, it is Vedanta. When Dvaita is removed, when separation is removed, Udaramantaram kurute athatasya bhayam bhavati. Even a little bit of separation, even a little bit of ragadvesha, samsara is there. Samsaraha phalavanstatra. Samsara is very effective. A little bit of separation, pain is hiding there. So remove all the separation. A person can remove all the separation in this Paramahamsa Ashrama. Hence, that is why the Shruti is Bhuteshu Bhuteshu Vijitya Dhiraha Pretyasma Lokad Amrta Bhavanti. Whomever they meet, they have the X-ray vision. They look into that person and see only the divine there. Neither the body nor the mind, the inner one, the inner spirit, the inner self. And that vision, that seeing only the Atman everywhere, seeing only God everywhere, there is no raga or dvesha. There is no attachment or aversion. And the inner peace, that inner samadhi remains undisturbed. And that is the Jivan Mukta Avastha, where the peace, the Shanti remains undisturbed. Esha Brahmi Sthitif Partha Nainam Prapya Vimuhyati Sthitva Syam Antakalepi Brahma Nirvana Mirchati. Even if you attain this state in your last days, you will attain Brahma Nirvana. With this goal, many take to this ashrama. One of the Shruti that is often quoted is Tapashraddhe yehi upavasanti aranye shanto mahantaha bhaikshcharyam sharantaha suryadvarena te virajaha prayanti yatramritah purusho sah avyayatma. So this bhaikshcharyam sharanti comes here in the Shruti. And Pravrajana is also given. Putradi eshanatraya sannyase eva adhikaraha na karmasu ishvara bhavanaya yuktasya. These are all bhashya vachanas for sannyasa ashrama. And one of the most powerful pramana for this comes in the Mundagopanishad. Nayam atma balahinena labhyaha nacha pramadat tapaso vapi alingat. The Shruti says this Atman cannot be attained by the weak, the feeble. You should have the balam. Balam means strength. And what is this strength? It is the balam of jnanam. It is not the physical strength. It is the balam of jnanam, because the world will come to you and tell you, I am here. This body is here, mind is here, senses are here. And your jnanam tells you only the Atman is there. This upadhi is mithya. This constant conflict will be there. And you win when your jnanam overpowers the invasion of names and forms. You see only the Satchidananda. That jnanam is so powerful that it has reached such a state where you see only Bhagavan. You see only Atma everywhere. Tapo atra jnanam lingam sannyasaha. For that, Bhashyakara says, you need sannyasa. Lingam atra sannyasa. This linga, this kashaya, mundana is all called linga. So that linga is needed for those who choose complete spiritual life. No other engagement, nothing else. Only Ishvara Aradhana, only Jnana Vichara. Even in Vividisha Sannyasa means a seeker, not the Jnani. A seeker, even for him, this ashrama is prescribed so that he can completely devote his life for self-inquiry, Atma Vichara, undisturbed. See, in former days, it is not that easy to be free of rituals. It is not that easy. In these days, nobody will inquire. But in those days, a person cannot very easily come out of these Vedic rites, Vedic rituals. He has to do many things. Even Manusmriti, Manu says, Rinani trini apakritya mano moksheni veshayet. After satisfying all the rinas, the debts that you owe to your pitris, bhuta, or your own life, you have to do the grihastha ashrama, you have to finish. After finishing everything, without anything to hold you back, then you take to sannyasa ashrama. And many people quote this Smriti Vakya and tell, see, Manu has said, without going through this road, you should not take sannyasa. This argument is very safe, and it is also true with the majority. But Sureshwaracharya, Vartikakara, Shankaracharya's disciple, we know the story that he was a great ritualist. He was a Mimamsaka. He was a Karma Mimamsaka. According to the story, he was the disciple of Kumarila Bhatta. And he was very well known all through India, Bharatavarsha. Shankaracharya went to his home, had a dialogue, debate with him, conquered him, and made him surrender and gave him sannyasa. You know why Shankaracharya put so much effort? Because he found that this Mandana Mishra is a very precious person. He is a great hidden treasure. Although he appears like a Mimamsaka, a Jivan Mukta is hidden inside him. So he went there. Shankaracharya conquered both the husband and wife. His wife, Ubhaya Bharati, was also a scholar. And the story goes, she was Saraswati herself. So she asked Shankaracharya, you are taking my husband as a sannyasi. What should I do? Shankaracharya said, you are Divine Mother herself. You also come with us. See, that much of freedom was there. So you also come with us. And he installed her in Sringeri as Sharada. And she was considered as Saraswati herself. She might have been a Brahmavit, a Jivan Mukta, Rishikaha. There were many Rishikas. So she might have been one of them. So when Sureshwaracharya was taken by Shankaracharya, many other disciples of Shankaracharya had a doubt, because he was a very strong, fanatic ritualist, a Mimamsaka. Now Acharya has given him sannyasa. Of course, he was defeated, but he will be hiding all his opinions and views inside. So we do not know. He will bring all that inside the Advaita also. They had all this opinion. See, so many disciples mean so many problems. Bhagavata says, Vase bahunam kalaha. Dvayor varta bhavedapi. Eka eva charet tasmat kumarya iva kankana. For a true yati, he should move about alone. Because if you have 3, there will be fight. If you have 2, there will be discussion. So better for meditation, walk alone. Eka eva charet. So this is the instruction. So when Shankaracharya took Sureshwara, all this murmuring was there around. Even the great Padmapada, the story is said that he also opened his mind and said, I very much doubt. Because Shankaracharya asked Sureshwara to write a Vartikam for Brahma Sutra. So all these things came up. Then Shankaracharya said, okay, write a book on the state of actionlessness. The state free of all actions, doership, enjoyership, kartrutva, bhoktritva, vihina, yeshanatraya parityaga lakshanaha dharmaha. Asmin vishaye. That Paramahamsa dharma where one is completely free. Write a book on that. And Sureshwara wrote Naishkarmya Siddhi. The very name of the book is Naishkarmya Siddhi, freedom from all action. Of course, the name comes from Bhagavad Gita. Asakta buddhi sarvatra, jidatma vigataspraha, Naishkarmya Siddhim paramam, Sannyasena adhigacchati. Through sannyasa he attains Naishkarmya Siddhi, freedom from all action. So, he wrote Naishkarmya Siddhi, and in the Vartikam of Brihadaranyakam, you should not forget, I quoted one verse from Manusmriti, where Manu says, only after finishing Brahmacharyashrama, Grihasthashrama, Vanaprasthashrama, you should go to Sannyasa. This is the Smriti. And the great teacher Acharya Shankara, as quoting this Smriti, he has taken to Sannyasa from his Brahmacharya. At the age of 8, he left Kerala and went to Madhya Pradesh, took sannyasa under Govinda Bhagavat Pada. But he says, this Smriti is a pramana that Manu quotes, that the intention was, you should at least spend your life for God after retirement. With that intention, Shankaracharya quoted this Smriti and said, Rinani trini apakritya mano mokshe niveshayat. But you know, Sureshwaracharya, who was a householder and then took to sannyasa, the moment he took to sannyasa, you know, he became fire. And he is a Vartikakara. He is commenting on the Bhashya of Shankaracharya, and Shankaracharya is quoting this Smriti and says, you should take to sannyasa after Grihasthashrama, after Vanaprastha. Sureshwaracharya says, Apasmritihi. This is not Smriti, this is Apasmriti. Because there are many places in Shruti where it is explicitly said that the purpose of life is to realize Brahman, that jnana. So you can take to jnana at any time of your life, whether in Brahmacharya, whether in Garhastya, whether in Vanaprastha. So wherever you want, you can take to ashrama. So this Shruti, Sureshwaracharya says, He says, Shatashaha vidyate shrutau. Hundreds of statements are there that the purpose of life is jnanam, and you can take to jnanam at any time if the force comes, people sometimes they say you can go to spiritual life only after Shashti Abda Purti, after 60 years old. Somebody told me this. I told him, is there any rule that a person can become mad only after retirement? If somebody becomes mad when he was 20 years old, you give him an advice, see, you should not become mad now. You can attain that insanity only when you are old. See, insanity is a force that comes from within. Like that is only spiritual quest also. Swami Vivekananda said, quoting Ramakrishna, he said, some are mad after money, some are mad after worldly pleasures, some are mad after recognition, and very few are there who are mad after God. If sinking is the fate of man, then it is better to sink in a pool of milk than to sink in a pool of dung. If you have to take a dip, better take dip in nectar. Why should you take a dip in dirt, in a sewage? So this is the argument. So when you want God, whatever may be your stage of life, that is the greatest dharma. When that force comes inside, one Grihastha said to Ramana Maharshi, I feel this family life is great trouble. I want to take to sannyasa. Maharshi said, family did not give you trouble, your mind is giving you trouble. Now you say family gives you trouble. If you go to sannyasa ashrama, some other trouble will come. You can attain jnana here itself. Then that person asked Maharshi, then why did you leave your house when you were only 17? Then Maharshi said, I did not ask anybody like you whether I should renounce. Because the force just pulled me and just I came out. That's all. It's a swabhava. That is the answer of Vedanta. Why should a Vidwan renounce? See, even Ramana Maharshi, he has attained jnana before renunciation. In Madurai itself, he has attained that jnana. Then you could have continued there. Why should we come to Tiruvannamalai, live as a beggar, begging in the streets of Tiruvannamalai? That is the nature. And Bhagavan says, in the language of bhakti, he says, Arunachala made this body do this. Mottai adittu enai vetta veliyil nee nattamadinayan Arunachala. He says, Arunachala, you tonsured my head and you made me wander about here. Maharshi tried to, yesterday I told the story of Muruganar. He also became a sannyasi, and his wife was every day come to Tiruvannamalai and to Bhagavan and said, Bhagavan, why don't you give back my husband? Bhagavan tried very much. He told Muruganar, see, your wife is here, you go back. He tried many times, he could not. Then at last Bhagavan said, Meenakshi, leave him. See, in this world so much sorrow is there, suffering is there. Why do you want this world? I am with you. You will not have any trouble. Don't bother him. And he was very compassionate to that lady, Meenakshi. And one day, Maharshi made much fun of Muruganar, because his mind was always in that state. He will not be able to do any work. One day he tried a service, cutting vegetable in the kitchen. And Maharshi was doing that work very perfectly, very skillfully, very clean. And Muruganar was putting everything, helters everywhere, Just it was a chaos there. All bits and pieces lying here and there. Maharshi looked at the work that he has done and said, see, you know the work that you have done, you know how it looks? It looks like your family life. The way ni kuduthana nadathana madri irukku. And Muruganar became very emotional. He wrote a song in which he made fun of Bhagavan. He said, you are very dexterous, very skillful. Why don't you get married and live with a woman? Because you know how to lead a good family life. Okay, I have failed. You know, Nakkarahi Nayant Ramanare Pukku Pichai Pulambitterivaden. Oh Ramana, why do you wander about in this Arunachala naked, begging for your food? You know very well to run a great organization, a family. Why don't you lead a family life? Why do you ask me to do that? Pukku Pichai Pulambitterivaden Takkavaru Tayyarutaviyar Shikkana Kudivarkai Shaluttume. And Shikkanam in Tamil means very judicious, very disciplined way. So you know how to run a family life. So because that the inner one made them like that. They could not do anything else. They tried otherwise, but that was so powerful. The pull of Paramahamsa Ashrama was so powerful. And that is the call of Bhagavan. When Bhagavan calls, the Gopikas, they did not wait to finish their work. They just dropped the work and went to Bhagavan. The moment they heard the flute, the music of Krishna, they just dropped their work wherever it was, in whatever condition it was, and they just went to Krishna, because that is, see, Abhedananda Swami in Abhedashram, I was giving Bhagavata talk there, so I read one incident. He was very close with Gurudev and with Swami Sivanandaji Maharaj. He was like an Avaduta. He was a great Bhagavata also. So one day his wife, in his former ashrama, his wife asked him to buy some vegetables. So he went to the market to get vegetables and disappeared. Because he had an inner call. It was not the last sannyasa. He had an inner call. He just took the bus and took some train and went to Vrindavan. And you know, after 2 years he returned to his family. He was not a sannyasi at that time. He returned to his family. And after that, his wife was afraid to send him to buy vegetables. Because if he goes to take vegetables, he will go to Vrindavan. Because the call is irresistible. So, when he calls you, there is a statement of Aurobindo. Somebody told Aurobindo, I will take to this life when he calls. Aurobindo wrote back, he calls, he always calls, you have put off your receiver. So when your receiver is on, when you are able to listen to that call, then you will have this blessedness of complete, full spiritual life. It has nothing to do with tonsuring the head or the ochre robe or outer joining some institution. You can have this realization, godly life, even in your house also. I will just narrate a small practical anecdote and stop today. There was one Swami in Chennai. He was very well known amongst Orthodox circle. Govinda Damodara Swamigal was called Triplicant Swami. He was a great Bhagavata exponent. Shivaramakrishna Shastri. And he used to read Bhagavatam to Kanchi Paramacharya. Every time he will expound Bhagavata Saptaham to him. And he was a great virakta, no desire for money, no desire for fame, name. Very orthodox. Formerly he was working in some post office or somewhere, and he was expounding. This story I heard only. Then he had so much trouble in his family life also. Was undergoing so much pain in his family life, but he was so much devoted to Krishna, Guru Ayyappan, and he will read Bhagavatam, Narayaniyam, very, very devoted, Upasaka, spending all his time in Parayana, Japa, Dhyana, like that. So, Kanchi Paramacharya before his Samadhi told him to take sannyasa. This is the story that I heard, but he was afraid to take it. Thinking about the consequence of it, the seriousness of it, he was afraid to touch it. So later on, after Paramacharya's Samadhi, he felt, my Guru has told me to take sannyas. What will I do? And the basic problem is, if I take sannyas from somebody, I have to obey them. And if they have an ashrama, I have to stay there. I have to move away from my house and stay somewhere. It is all okay because there is no need for him. But he had a great spiritual practice. Right from the morning till 1 o'clock in the afternoon, he will have the Parayana, Japa, Anushtana, everything. And he had his own routine. So his problem was, if I take to sannyasa, if I have to leave all these things, I will not have that fulfillment. So his spirituality was so much, see, he didn't want to do it, lose it by going anywhere. So he inquired many persons, and those who were very close with Paramacharya also. And when Avadhuta Mahatma was there in Chennai, he was Kanchi Paramacharya's younger brother. To him, he had a conversation. He said, why don't you just take informally, you take sannyasa from the next Pīఠāధిపதி and you stay wherever you are. You need not go anywhere. Have your spiritual practice, because sannyasa has many definitions. If it is sannyasa, basically Sivanandaji Maharaj said, you should have japa, you should wake up in the morning, 3 o'clock, do japa, do meditation, do pranayama, have likita japa, have ekadashi varata, many disciplines, have the notebook where you will write your daily routine, discipline. So no other saint has prescribed so much sadhana, so much abundantly Sivanandaji Maharaj has given. This particular Swami, he had all those disciplines in his life. Now what is he going to do by taking outer sannyas? But his Guru has told. So he took sannyas from the next Pīఠāధిపதி in a simple way, no danda kashaya in that tradition. He just took kashaya vastram and took the name also Govinda Damodara Swamigal. Stayed in the upper part of his house. He never mingled with the family, I heard so. Even one of the death of his son or somebody, he never was affected. He said, okay, let anything happen. Nothing affected him. He led such a simple, austere life. So, you can have such a life. Many had lived like that. No? In Shastra also prescription is there. If you take to sannyasa ashrama in the old age, you can live wherever you can peacefully have. If you have the jnana yoga vyavasthiti, do that. Or bhakti marga, do that. Spend asuptehe amrtehe kalam nayed vedanta chintaya. That is sannyasa. Till you sleep, till you die. Spend every minute contemplating on the divine, on Vedanta. That is one definition of sannyasa. We will go to other facets tomorrow, day after tomorrow. Right. Arunachala Shiva, Arunachala Shiva, Arunachala Shiva, Arunachala, Arunachala Shiva, Arunachala Shiva, Arunachala Shiva, Arunachala. Yato mamatma bhavasi tvameva, tato navachyam mama kinchidasti, yathatavishtam kurumam tathaiva, tvam atmanatham ramanam bhaja.